The Queens of Softball are back on the diamond as the Iowa Hawkeyes kick off their Big Ten Conference regular season play as they travel to State College and face the Penn State and Indy Lions. Hi, I'm Lucas Strain, and you're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield. As we get things going, Nia Carter's going to lead things off for the Hawkeyes. She shits in and takes pitch number one, takes it outside, and that's going to be a ball. On the bump today for the Penn State and Indy Lions is Bailey Partial, the ace of the squad. Partial wearing number one, squats down. Pitch number two is also outside. Count moves to 2-0. Partial is definitely one of the best pitchers in all of Division I. She just tallied her 700th career strikeout in their last game against Pittsburgh. That was an 8-0 a 1-0 extra inning game into the 8th inning in which Penn State won on a walk-off. Partial falls behind 3-0. And we'll see if Carter gets the take sign here. As we mentioned, Partial is one of the best pitchers in all of Division I softball. She ranks 26 nationally in ERA at 1.24, and that ranks second best in the Big Ten. But she walks Carter to lead things off. Nia Carter reaching base, that's nothing new to her. She leads the team in on-base percentage. She's only getting on base about 54% of the time. I'd call that good. Stepping in now, Tatiana Roman. Roman takes strike one for the first pitch. Roman's a .341 hitter on the season. 19 runs and 9 RBIs, swings and misses at pitch number two. Count moves to 0-2. Carter got off the bag a little early there. Maybe we were getting a hit and run action. Just waiting for the contact. So the 0-2 pitch from Partial is a strike three looking. So Roman goes down on strikes. That was a good morning, good afternoon, and good night from Partial. So she gets her first strikeout of the day. That brings up the shortstop for the Hawkeyes, number one, Tori Bennett. Bennett swinging it well currently. 9 of 14 over her last 4 games. Takes the first pitch outside, 1-0. Bennett's on a 5-game hit streak, hitting .356 on the season. She started all 29 games this year for the Hawks, all at shortstop. And Carter goes down to second base. The throw is in time, so there's out number 2. Lindmark gets out the second out of the inning as Carter gets caught stealing. Carter's arguing a little bit with the base umpire, but the ball definitely seemed to beat her there. Maybe she got around the tag. Couldn't quite see the angle. But nonetheless, there are 2 away. And the Hawkeyes' leadoff runner gets stranded. Partial squats down. Bennett takes a hack and fouls this one out of play. So 2 outs, nobody on for the Hawkeyes. Carter drew the leadoff walk on 4 straight pitches. Roman struck out on 3 straight. And now Bennett has a 2-1 count. Little confusion from the Penn State dugout as to what the count actually was. The 2-1 is fouled back off the netting. So the deuces are wild here in the top of the first. Iowa, Penn State, first game of conference play for both teams. Iowa sitting at 18-11 on the season, 3-2 on the road. Penn State 18-4 to sit atop the Big Ten standings. Partial takes the sign, squats down. The 2-2 is skied into shallow infield. Who's going to call it? Everyone's camped underneath it, and the catch is made by the first baseman Black. So after drawing the leadoff walk, the Hawks go 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the first inning. They got no runs, no hits, no errors, and no one was left on base. Remember, Carter was the only one who did get to reach base. She got caught stealing. For the Hawkeyes around the diamond, starting in left field. Going from left to right field, we got Klosterman, Roman, and Carter. Around the infield from third base all the way over to first, we got Baines, Bennett, Streff, and Diaz. Behind the plate is Doster, and on the bump for the Hawkeyes. Making her 8th start of the year is the freshman Jalen Adams. Adams has a 4-6 record early on the season, a 1.49 ERA. That's the second best on the team, trailing only ace Brianna Vasquez. Adams has that ERA sitting around 1.5 runs, over 56 and a third innings thus far. Adams was the 2021 5A State Tournament Elite Pitcher, and she was also the 2022 Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year. She's got a shutout on the season thus far. There was a 7-0 victory over Syracuse early in February, and the last game she pitched in was against Texas, the Hawkeyes' last game. And in that game, she went 7 innings, allowed 5 runs, all of them earned. She had 2 strikeouts and 2 walks. The first batter she's going to face is going to be Melanie Coombs for the Nittany Lions. She plays second base, wears number 2. She shows bunt early, pops it up. Adams pops off the mound, and she makes the catch for the first out of the inning. So 1 pitch, 1 out, early for the freshman. Coombs tried to drag bunt there. She got it down just a little bit late. Kind of dipped the barrel, causing the ball to squirt up into the air. Adams was easily able to make the play. Brings up Emily Maddock, wearing number 3. Left-handed batter takes strike 1. Looked like a changeup on the inner corner. Counts 0-1 to Maddock. She swings. It's a ground ball along the left side past a diving Bennett. And we have our first hit of the ball game as Maddock will reach first base safely on the single into left field. It was a good piece of hitting there from Maddock. It was a fastball on the outer half. And she just took it the other way. Even if Bennett, who had dove on that play, even if she got a glove on it, she wasn't going to have enough time to get the speedy Maddock out at first. So both teams have a runner reach in their first inning of play. Remember, Carter got thrown out at second trying to steal. We'll see if Maddock will get the green light as well. Brings up Caitlin Morrison, the shortstop for Penn State. She sends a fly ball into shallow left center field. Klosterman roams over, makes the catch for out number 2. So we've seen 2 of the 3 Penn State batters come to play thus far. Either swing at or bunt at the first pitch they've seen. Not really working Adams' pitch count. Brings up the cleanup hitter for Penn State, first baseman number 19, Lexi Black. She takes the first pitch, ball 1. Black has a very, very good slugging percentage, to say the least, as the 1-0 pitch is fouled off the netting. Count moves to 1-1. Black's a senior first baseman, and as I said, she has a slugging percentage of .703. That's 6th best in the Big Ten. Also leads the team. She's hitting .375 on the year, 15 runs and 19 RBIs. She gets jammed inside on... Fouls it back, though. Count moves to 1-2. The 1-2 is a changeup low and in the dirt. Black didn't chase, and the count evens at 2 apiece. So deuces are wild once more. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Black digs in. Maddox on first base. Adam takes the sign, pitches, and this one is crushed into shallow left field. Bennett ranges back, makes the catch, and there for the third out. As both teams go scoreless in the first inning of play. Penn State got no runs, one hit, no errors, and left a one runner on base. Coming up in the top half of the second for the Hawks is Lecker, Baines, and Klosterman. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
Hawks are due up for the top half of the second inning. First game of conference play in the Big Ten. Facing Penn State out at State College. Iowa's wearing their all-black uniforms. When the Hawkeyes wear black this season, they're 3-2. We're scheduled to play a game today, another one tomorrow, and another on Sunday for the trifecta. But with inclement weather incoming in Penn State, Saturday's game got moved to Sunday, and we'll play a doubleheader. Leading off the top of the second for the Hawkeyes is Denali Lecker. She takes strike one on the outside corner. Lecker has the best slugging percentage on the team, also leads the team in RBIs with 29, but she's been struggling as of late. She's only hitting 167 over the last 14 games. She swings and misses here for strike two. Over those 14 games, that was an 8 for 48, including an 0 of 13 stretch. But she's starting to turn things around just a little bit. She's tallied a hit in 3 of her last 4. Those 29 RBIs rank second in the Big Ten. The 0-2 to Lecker is popped into shallow center field. Crothamel comes in and makes the catch for out number 1. Digging in now for the Hawkeyes is third baseman number 23, Grace Baines. Baines leads the Big Ten in triples this season with 3. Bunch of players around the conference also have 2. But she's pacing everyone with 3 of them. First pitch she takes is a ball, low and inside. The 1-0 to Baines is a fastball on the outer half taken, strike 1. Baines is a junior utility player. She's playing third base today. She was primarily second base earlier during the season and has more solidified her spot at the hot corner for the Hawkeyes. The 1-1 is swung on and missed, strike 2. Umpire says she actually got a piece of it. But nonetheless, count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Little brisk day down in State College. Everyone seems to be wearing their winter coats, some scarves. See a lot of blankets in the stands. The 1-2 is lined down the right field line, slices foul. We'll do it all over again. Baines is hitting .298 on the season, just a touch under 300. 14 runs, 15 RBIs. She takes strike 3 looking. So Partial gets her second strikeout of the day. And we're not even through 2 innings yet. That'll bring up the left fielder, number 22, Briley Klosterman. Remember, Klosterman had that nice catch in the bottom half of the first inning for the Hawkeyes. She takes ball 1 on the outside corner. Klosterman's had a pretty decent season thus far for Iowa. She started the season as just a primarily spot pinch hitter. But as of late, she's become a regular outfielder. The pitch from Partial is swung on and missed. Count evens at 1-1. Partial is one of the, let's see if I can count correctly, 3 left-handed pitchers that Penn State uses 5 pitchers primarily, and 3 of them are left-handed. Partial being one of those. A jam shot stays in the infield. Partial camps under it for out number 3. So the Hawks go down in order, and Partial's face the minimum through 2. Hawkeyes are still hitless after their first 6 players have come to the plate. But as we said, Partial is a very, very capable pitcher, one of the best ones in Division I. On ERA at 1.24. In her last game, she went 8 shutout innings, only allowing 3 hits. She had 11 strikeouts in that game, so striking people out is not uncommon to her. She's got 2 of them thus far, so the Hawks are pacing themselves just a little bit better than Pittsburgh did. We'll talk about that Pittsburgh game that Penn State had just won. They played earlier this week on a Tuesday. And they won on a walk-off infield single from Emily Maddock. As we said, Partial got her 700th career strikeout in that game. But if we look at the Hawkeyes in their most recent times out, they played at the USF tournament down in Florida. Hawkeyes still waiting to play their first game in Iowa this season. They went 2-2 in their last game. They had a 5-1 loss to Texas, but Anna Strepp played well, went 2 for 3. And as we said, Jalen Adams got the nod in that one as well, going 7 innings deep, allowing 5 runs and striking out 2. First batter she'll face in the bottom half of the second is Michelle Leone, third baseman for Penn State. She fouls off the first one. Count moves to 0-1. Adams takes the sign. Change up on the lower half of the zone, catches it. Count moves to 0-2. So we've seen her work low on both of the first 2 pitches. We'll see if she combos that with a high fastball. Maybe get a chase. Takes the sign and into the motion. There is the high fastball. But Leone is able to lay off. That was a really good, really good spot from Adams there. You know, when you see a lot of younger players and you say, I want the high fastball, they'll one of 2 things, either over-exaggerate and throw it about eye level, or they'll be too scared and they won't get it high enough. Adams was able to put that one just at the top of the lettering, just perfect spot, and Leone was able to say no. She fouls one off, so the count stays 1-2. Adams looking for her first strikeout of the day. The 1-2 to Leone. Leone is line foul again. That's the 3rd foul ball we've seen in this at-bat, pulled left of the third base. Leone is a 5'4" senior. Came to Penn State from Florida. It's quite a trip to go from a sunny state down to go all the way up to Penn State. And the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed. So there is the first strikeout of the day for freshman Jalen Adams. That was a challenge fastball, and Leone just couldn't keep up with it. The first pitch to the next batter, Maggie Finnegan, is popped into shallow right field. Nia Carter comes on and makes the grab for out number 2. So after what was a long at-bat from Leone, Finnegan takes 1 pitch, 1 swing, and gets the second out. Nice play from Carter. Wasn't too difficult for her, but still an impressive play none the same. Liana Jones steps in. The left fielder for Penn State, she swings at the first pitch she sees, skies one into right center field, and this one is dropped from Tatiana Roman. Jones takes advantage and will reach second base. That one will definitely go down as an error from Roman. She roamed over to her right and didn't really camp under the ball. She was kind of coasting. Hit her right in the palm. She's hitting herself on the chest. Yeah, that one's my bad. My bad. I should have gotten that one. That'll definitely go down as an error and what should have been the third out. But Jones will reach second base safely, so Penn State has a runner in scoring position for the first time today. And there's a line drive up the middle. It is fielded by Bennett. Throw to first is in time for the third out. So the Hawkeyes pick up the air from Roman. Penn State goes scoreless. That was a hard ground ball that just snuck under the glove of Adams. I thought Bennett might have had trouble with it. It was hit pretty hard. Looked like it nearly popped out of Bennett's glove, but she was able to corral it and make the strong throw to first base. After two complete, Penn State and Iowa still knotted at 0 apiece. Coming up in the top half of the third for the Hawkeyes, it's the bottom three of the order. Streff, Doster, and Diaz. As Partial has faced the minimum through 2 for Penn State, 6 up, 6 down. Hawkeyes still looking to get their first solid contact of the day. The 3 balls they've had put in play have all been fairly weakly hit. So to lead things off in the top half of the third for the Hawkeyes is number 17, Anna Streff. She's the second baseman. Streff's hitting .240 on the season. She's kind of a utility player, can play anywhere. Playing second base today. This is her 13th game of the season, her 10th start. 5 runs, 1 RBI on the season, but she does have a triple. Stands with an open stance in the right-hander's batter's box. Takes the first pitch, a fastball upstairs, ball 1. Streff stands in again. She went 2 for 3 in her last game against Texas. It was the first multi-hit game of her career as she takes ball 2 downstairs. The 2-0 to Streff from Partial. Into the wind and into the pitch, ball 3. So the Hawkeyes have a pretty clear game plan thus far against Partial. Anything that's even close to the black, they're taking hardcore because they want to see how many pitches they can get her to throw today. As that pitch is in the zone for strike 1. So that's Partial's first strike of the inning. Count moves to 3-1 against Streff. Partial with 1 walk today already. The 3-1 is low and inside. So there's ball 4. So Streff draws the walk. And it's pretty clear that the Hawkeyes have a pretty decent game plan. You know who else has a game plan? The University of Iowa Healthcare. They have a game plan for your same-day healthcare needs. If you need treatment for a common illness or minor injury, visit one of several U Iowa Quick Care or Urgent Care locations throughout the Iowa City, Cedar Rapids corridor. Their care and expertise will help you get back in the game. UI Healthcare is proud to sponsor your Iowa Hawkeyes. First pitch to Doster is skied out of play along the right side. Doster's behind the plate today. You see the Hawkeyes utilize pretty much 2 catchers throughout the season. Doster gets the nod today. She falls behind 0-1 and quickly goes down 0-2. That's a fastball, and that was a pretty perfect spot there from Marshall. Just catches the black on the outer half. About knee high. I'd say it was a pretty good frame job by Lindmark behind the plate as well. Count moves to 0-2, nobody on. Doster shows bunt, pulls back, swings, fouls it out of play. We'll see if Streff gets moving over there at first base. Partial into the motion. And swung on and fouled back again from Doster. So she's hanging tough with 2 strikes. Fell behind 0-2 pretty quickly. And that was a pretty good pitch. A nice changeup from Partial on the lower part of the zone. Doster was able to get just enough of it to send it into the netting. Iowa had 2 runners reach base, but they're still looking for their first hit. The 0-2 to Doster is swung on and missed. So that's the 3rd strikeout of the day for Bailey Partial. So that brings up the 9-hole hitter for the Hawkeyes, first baseman, number 7, Sammy Diaz. Diaz is a 5'5" junior from Cypress, California. Long trip from the West Coast into the heart of the Midwest in Iowa. She takes the first pitch. A ball outside, 1-0. Diaz has started all 29 games this season for the Hawkeyes, all 29 of them at first base. The 1-0 is cut on and missed, and now we got a bit of a rundown with Streff between first and second. Throw to second, she comes back to first, and she is tagged out, sliding head first back into the first base bag. Black makes the tag, so that's the 2nd time that we've seen a Hawkeye caught running on the bases, and we're not even through 3 innings of play. Looks like Streff just got off first base a little bit too far, and Lindmark threatened to throw back to first. So Streff panicked and started running towards second and was just caught in no man's land. So they're 2 away and 2-1 count to Sammy Diaz. The 2-1 is a fastball taken on the inner part of the plate for strike 2. Deuces are wild once more. 2 down, 2-2 count in the top half of the 3rd inning. Iowa, Penn State, scoreless. Bailey Partial looking for her 4th strikeout of the game. The 2-2 is skied into the air, but out of play. And we'll do it all over again. Diaz is hitting .232 on the season with a .357 on base percentage, and it's quite a turnaround for the junior compared to her sophomore season. She only hit .109 last year in 81 at-bats, but nearly a 120-point difference as she takes ball 3 outside. That one wasn't even close. So the count moves full. So while Partial has looked impressive with all the strikeouts, and the Hawkeyes still haven't gotten a hit, she has shown some command issues. Count moves full, and it is fouled off by Diaz. So pitch count has been pretty high thus far for Partial. The Hawkeyes are really working her. While pitch count isn't as prevalent in softball as it is in baseball, arm's still going to get tired. She's thrown nearly as many pitches this inning as she has in the other first and second 2 combined. Home plate umpire ran out of softballs in his pouch. He couldn't wait for the next half inning. He had to go and get more now. So a little delay in the action, but we're back. Full count, 2 outs. And this pitch is called strike 3. Catches the outside corner, and Diaz will go down looking, and Bailey Partial gets her 4th strikeout of the day. The Hawkeyes get no runs. They had no hits. They did have a runner reach base, but for the 2nd time today, there was a base running mistake from the girls in black. So after 2.5 complete, the Hawkeyes 0, Penn State's coming up to bat. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
Welcome back to Iowa softball. Freshman Jalen Adams remains in the circle for the Hawkeyes. She'll get Lindmark and then the top of the lineup with Coombs and Maddox. So 9-1-2. And then she'll get to the heart of the order. Leading things off for Penn State is the catcher, Cassie Lindmark. Statistically today, she will get 2 caught stealings on her record, even though one of them was kind of just a rundown with Streff in the middle. It'll statistically still go down as a caught stealing for her. Remember, she threw out Carter as well in the top of the first. She takes a changeup, or maybe even a screwball, on the inside corner for strike 1. Lindmark, not the primary catcher this year for Penn State. This is only her 7th game of the season, 7th start that is. As she takes ball 1, count moves to 1-1. She's hitting .250 in those 6 games, but that .250 is just 4 of 16. One of those 4 hits was a double. The rest have all been singles. She takes here. Count goes to 2-1 to the Penn State catcher. Jalen Adams has had a very good freshman campaign for the Hawkeyes this year as she pumps in the 2-1 pitch for a strike, and the count evens at 2 apiece. Adams, the freshman from Fort Dodge, Iowa. As we said, she was the 2022 Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year. She's been very dominant thus far. 2-2 pitch, very, very close. But it is, in fact, called a ball. Even Lindmark started headed back to the dugout a little bit. But Doster isn't arguing much behind the plate. Maybe she knows just a little bit more than we do, don't you think? Anyway, the count goes full. Nobody on, no outs. The full count pitch is strike 3. Taken on the outside corner. And Jalen Adams gets her 2nd strikeout of the afternoon. But it's back to the top of the order for the Nittany Lions with Melody Coombs. Coombs is 0 for 1 today. Remember, she tried to drag bunt on the first pitch. She swings and misses on the first pitch she sees this time. She tried to drag bunt in the top of the first on the first pitch from the freshman Adams, but she popped it up right to number 12, who was easily able to make the catch. Counts 0-1 to the Penn State leadoff hitter. She takes here, and it's fumbled behind the plate by Doster, but called a strike anyway. She's smiling through her mask. She knows that's one she could have had, but no harm done. Coombs quickly falls behind 0-2. Adams looking for back-to-back strikeouts to start off the third. The 0-2 is a fastball on the outer half. Coombs checks at it, but is able to hold her swing. Count is 1-2. Adams, a two-way player. Not hitting today, though. Coombs skies one into deep, deep center field. Roman's giving chase, and she makes the catch just short of the warning track. Coombs gave that one a ride, but Roman was able to track it down. It was probably the deepest part of the park. And not too much wind today at State College, but that one seemed to have just a little bit of a carry to it. But Roman was able to camp under it for out number 2. Brings up Emily Maddox. Maddox 1 for 1 today. She had a single into left field. She's got the only hit of the game thus far for either squad. She takes the first pitch, change up low. As we said, Maddox 1 for 1 today. Remember, she had the walk-off infield single in Penn State's last game against Pittsburgh. And she hits a chopping ground ball along the right side, and it gets through Streff and Diaz. So Emily Maddox reaches base safely for the second time today, and she's got a pair of singles. Two hits between both squads thus far. Both of them belong to Emily Maddox. The 2-out base knock brings up arguably Penn State's best hitter in number 21, Caitlin Morrison. Morrison's hitting .403 on the season. She takes ball 1. That .403 batting average is good enough for 6th best in the Big Ten. Well, we know who has the number 1 batting average in the Big Ten. It's the girl out in right field wearing black, Nia Carter. Morrison takes ball 2 on the inner half. 2-0. Morrison went 0 for 3 in Penn State's last game against Pitt. He went 0 for 3 with a strikeout, but in the 6 games before that, she had a 6-game hit streak moving on. She hits a chopping ground ball towards shortstop. Bennett makes the play, and the throw over is strong and in time for out number 3. So the 2-out hit from Maddock leads nowhere as Adams is able to pitch around it. Penn State gets no runs. They had the 1 hit. No errors from the Hawkeye defense. And Penn State stranded 1 runner. And the top of the Hawkeye order is due up next when we return. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
We're back for the bottom half of the third in Iowa's first Big Ten Conference play of the regular season. Hawkeyes are out in Pennsylvania to face the Penn State Nittany Lions, who sit atop the standings in the Big Ten at 18-4. Leading things off for the Hawkeyes is the girl you want up there, number 14, Nia Carter. Carter drew a walk in her first plate appearance of the day to lead off the game. It was a 4-pitch walk from Bailey Parshall. Carter was later caught trying to steal second base. She takes first pitch here, and it just catches the outside corner. Looked a little low in my eyes, but home plate umpire called it a strike. As I said before, Nia Carter leading the Big Ten in batting average at .485. She sits in on the 0-1 and takes a fastball outside. We saw Carter trying to steal that bag earlier in the first inning. And she leads the Hawkeyes in steals this year. She's 6 for 8. Well, now 6 for 9. She lines one down the right field line, and she's thinking 2. This one gets to the wall, maybe 3. She puts the brakes on. She's got a stand-up double to lead off the bottom of the third for the Hawkeyes. That's Carter's 5th double of the season. That now ties her with Roman, who's coming up to the bat for the most doubles this year. That was a pitch on the inside part of the plate. She's able to keep her hands inside and lines it down the right field line. And with her speed, she easily had 2. So Carter's on second with nobody out and Tatiana Roman digging in. She shows bunt, gets it down, but it goes foul. Back to the backstop. Roman's 0 for 1 today. She struck out looking in the top of the first. Not the only one to strike out today for Iowa. Parshall's a very heavy strikeout pitcher. Roman stands in tall, looking tough. The 0-1 doesn't show bunt this time. She takes all the way, and it's low, 1-1. That time Roman went with the slap attempt, but the ball just wasn't in the zone, so she didn't take a hack. Counts 1-1. Carter stands on second, nobody out. There's a ground ball along the left side, and it gets past the diving Morrison. Carter's running around third, puts the brakes on, and the Hawkeyes got runners on the corners with nobody out. Penn State was in a bit of a shift there. Morrison was playing more towards third base because Penn State was playing the bunt. Leone was up, Morrison was over towards third, and that's a ground ball that's normally hit right at your shortstop. So that's a time when the shift, or the bunt coverage really, works against the Nittany Lions. Iowa's got runners on the corners with nobody out, and Tori Bennett coming up to the plate for Iowa. Bennett's 0 for 1. She popped up in the first inning. She grounds the ball towards shortstop. There's a throw to second base. Run will score. Bennett beats the throw, so it'll go down as a 6-4 fielder's choice. Bennett gets the RBI, and the Hawkeyes score the first run of the ball game. Bennett was running hard out of the box. It's a ground ball towards Morrison, the shortstop's right side. It was a really good turn from the Penn State middle infielders. Just the base paths were just too short, and Bennett was able to leg it out. So the Hawkeyes lead it 1-0 in the top half of the fourth inning. First pitch to Lecker is upstairs. Ball 1. Scoring first is big for Iowa this season. They are 15-2 when they are the first team to score in a game. And compare that to when they don't score first, they're only 3-9. Lecker swings and misses, count evens at 1 apiece. Lecker's 0 for 1. She flew out to shallow center field in her first at-bat in the second inning. She sends one in a similar spot here. This one slices, and Coombs will camp under it in shallow right field for the second out. That one looked good off the bat. It just kind of seemed to die in the air and slice a little bit, and Coombs, the second baseman, was able to range out. I'm looking at the replay now. Yeah, it looked pretty decent off the bat. Lecker kept her hands inside and got the barrel on the ball. Just kind of died once it reached its peak. The first pitch to Baines, the third baseman, is fouled off the netting. 0-1. Baines 0 for 1 today. She struck out looking in the second inning. She's behind 0-1. Bennett stands on first base with 2 outs in the top half of the fourth. And the count moves to 0-2 on Baines. She took a fastball that just caught the black. Counts 0-2. Partial's looking for her 5th strikeout of the game. Baines looking to avoid striking out for the second time. The 0-2 to Baines is way inside. Didn't hit Baines, though. Counts 1-2. It's one where if you're Coach Gillespie, you might be saying, hey, stick your hips out just a little bit. Take one for the team. Get us a runner in scoring position. Nonetheless, count moves to 1-2. And this one misses upstairs. So counts 2-2. 2 outs. Bennett stands on first. We'll see if maybe she gets the green light to run here. She's 1 for 1 on the year stolen bases. Not much of a runner. The 2-2 is a ground ball along the left side, and it gets through the infield and reaches Jones in left field. So Grace Baines with a 2-out single for the Hawkeyes. That was a nice piece of hitting there from the Hawkeye third baseman. That was a pitch on the inside part of the plate. She's able to keep her hands inside, get the top half of the softball, which is, if you ask any hitting coach, what's the most important thing you have to do? Inside and on top, and that's what Baines was able to do, especially with the 2-strike count. Brings up Briley Klosterman. Hawkeyes have a runner in scoring position. She takes the first pitch outside, 1-0. Runners on first and second for the Iowa left fielder. Klosterman's 0 for 1 today. She popped up to the pitcher to end the second inning. She's ahead 1-0. And now evens at 1-1. Doesn't look like, I don't know if Klosterman was ready for the pitch that Partial delivered there. She was way out in front of it. She didn't swing. She took the pitch at the end. But it looked like she was way out in front. She's out in front of this one too. She swings and misses and falls behind 1-2. There's a big hole between the shortstop and second baseman if Klosterman's able to take Partial back up the middle. The 1-2, It was a fastball outside, nearly in the right-handed batter's box, but that was a good spot there from the Penn State pitcher. Two on, two outs, 2 balls, and 2 strikes. Iowa leads at 1-0. Klosterman at the bat. She lines one into the right side, and it's gloved by Coombs, and the throw to first is in time to Black. So it looked like a promising hit was snagged by the Penn State second baseman for the third and final out of the inning. It's a really nice play from Coombs. It snuck past the outstretched arm of Lexi Black, the Penn State first baseman, so I thought it had a chance of reaching the outfield. And it was hit so softly that Bennett was easily going to be able to score from second, but Coombs showed off the range and was able to glove it and throw the ball on the run and stop Iowa from adding on to their 1-0 lead. They scored 1 run and got 3 hits on the inning. A double from Carter, the RBI single, from Bennett. And the Hawkeyes take a 1-0 lead. And as we said, grabbing the lead is very important for the Hawkeyes. 15-2 when they score first. And our friends at Iowa City and Tire Service is a proud supporter of Hawkeyes softball. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. And coming up first for Penn State in the bottom half of the 4th inning is the first baseman, Lexi Black. Black is 0 for 1 on the day. She popped out to Bennett at shortstop in her first at-bat. First pitch from the freshman Jalen Adams is a ball on the outside half. Adams has pitched really well, kept the pitch count down. And she continues to rampage through an impressive freshman campaign. Her 1-0 is swung on and missed from Black, and the count evens at 1 apiece. Talked about how impressive Adams has been this season for Iowa. She has a shutout, a 7-0 win over the Syracuse Orange. The 1-1 is a ball up and outside. Counts 2-1. All the pitches that she's thrown in this at-bat to Black have been on the outer half. We'll see if she's going to combo that with going inside with something hard. This is a changeup. Low and away. Just misses. So 3 balls and 1 strike to the Penn State cleanup hitter. Black is one of the rare softball players who does not wear the face mask. She does have one of those helmet mouth extenders, but she does not wear the traditional face mask as she skies one into the infield, and it's popped up, and Bennett runs all the way over and catches it just inside the circle for the first out of the 4th. The girls having a little bit of fun there about who should have called that one. Bennett definitely ranged really, really far, but it's pretty traditional that if the shortstop calls it, the shortstop gets it. I thought Diaz, the first baseman, could have had it. She wasn't quite camped under it, though. Bennett was coming in on the ball, where Diaz kind of overran it just a little bit. Michelle Leone fouls one off, falls behind 0-1. Leone, the Penn State third baseman. She's 0 for 1, struck out swinging for one of Adams' 2 strikeouts on the day. She grounds the ball to Bennett at shortstop, a nice chopper, and an easy play for number 1 in Black, as out number 2 comes via the ground out. So Maggie Finnegan will try to extend the short inning thus far for Penn State. Finnegan's 0 for 1, and she popped out to Nia Carter in her first at-bat out in right field. Very quick inning so far for Adams. This will only be the 8th pitch. And this is a hard ground ball back at her, hits her off her shin, goes to her knees, makes the throw in time for the 3rd and final out. And they're all having a little bit of fun with her on the mound. She lost her hand warmer out of her pocket, hit her off the shin. She went down to the ground and she threw the ball from her knees and threw it in time to get the speedy Finnegan. So Penn State goes 3 up, 3 down in the bottom half of the 4th inning. And the Hawkeyes have a 1-0 lead through 4. And we'll talk about how important it is when the Hawkeyes lead after 4 innings. After 4 complete, when they are winning the game, they are 15-2 overall. Compare that to when they're losing, they're 2-8. So if Iowa's winning after the 4th, they tend to win the game. And you know who else wins? Iowans win when corn grows Iowa. Take a closer look and you'll discover the many connections you have to corn. And those connections translate to wins for farmers and wins for all Iowans. Share your winning moments using hashtag IowansWin. Leading off the top half of the 5th for the Hawkeyes is Anna Streff. Streff has reached base safely. She drew a leadoff walk to start the 3rd inning for the Hawkeyes. It was a 4-pitch walk from the Penn State ace. Streff, the second baseman, coming off a 2-hit game against Texas, the first multi-hit game of her career. She's just a freshman from Marion, Iowa, and she swings and misses at the first pitch. Falls behind 0-1. Streff's had a solid campaign. Utility player, like I said. She plays a little bit everywhere, but today she's playing second base. .240 on the year. Takes a really good changeup from Partial that just catches the outside corner. I mean, that was about as good of a pitch that you can get from the Penn State pitcher. That was a changeup that came out of her hand exactly the same way her fastball does, and it just caught the black on the outside. Counts 0-2 to Streff, and she flies one into right center field. Croth-Hamill goes back towards the wall and makes the catch just short of the warning track. So that's another ball that we've seen today where it looks pretty decent off the bat, but then it just kind of hangs in the air. We're not playing at Coors Field out in Denver, Colorado, where things are just flying. There's not much wind. I'm basing it off of all the flags that I see out behind the center field wall. There's not much wind to speak of, but as soon as things are hitting the air, they're just kind of dying. Here's another one in the air, but this one goes over the netting and out of play from Doster. Doster, the Iowa catcher today, and Iowa traditionally uses 2 catchers, sophomore Doster and freshman Skyland Pogue. Pogue has gotten the nod in a bit more games. This is Doster's 12th start on the season. She takes ball 1. Counts 1-1. Iowa leads the Penn State Nittany Lions in their first game of Big Ten Conference play. A road matchup for the Hawkeyes that lead at 1-0 in the top half of the 5th. The 1-1 is grounded up the middle, and Partial just sticks her glove out easily to make the play and throws over to first in time. That was almost laughable for Penn State pitcher. She's actually laughing just a little bit on the mound as well. But now she's going to have to face the challenging Sammy Diaz, the Hawkeye first baseman. Diaz is a 5'5" junior. She started all 29 games this year for the Hawkeyes. Very good defensively. She takes a hack at the first pitch. And she was just a little bit late. Fouls it over the first base dugout. She was on time on that one. Diaz has the home run capability. She's got 1 on the season, and that's one where she was going for the home run. She was just a little bit late. We'll see if Partial will combo that with something soft on the outside. She does, but it can't be hit. It's lost by Lindmark. That's one of those plays where maybe if the catcher catches it, it's a strike. I know the umpires are going to call it wherever it crosses the plate, but in the back of their mind, it's always something. If they don't catch it, it's probably a ball. He calls it a ball, and the count moves to 1-1. Diaz takes all the way on the third pitch of the at-bat, and it's ball 2. So we saw Diaz take a hack on the first pitch of the at-bat. We'll see if she does the same thing here. She does, swings really hard, line right at the center fielder, Crothhamel. And that was another hard swing from the Hawkeye first baseman. She hit it on the nail, just right at the Penn State center fielder. So the Hawkeyes go 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the 5th inning. And going into the bottom half of the 5th, Penn State will have 7, 8, 9 when they come up. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
Middle of the 5th inning, Iowa Hawkeyes lead the Penn State Nittany Lions 1-0. As Penn State comes up to bat for the 5th time. It's Iowa and Penn State's first conference game of the season. When corn grows fuel, Iowans win. Ethanol is a renewable fuel that's better for our environment, our health, and our wallets. Share your winning moments using hashtag #IowansWin. Plus, you'll be eligible for some fun and corny giveaways. Get it? Anyway, as we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning, the Penn State left fielder Liana Jones will lead things off. Jones is 0 for 1 today. Takes a first pitch changeup, and that gets a smile from Doster and a couple of claps. That was a beautiful changeup from the Iowa freshman. Came out of her hand the exact same way that the fastball does, and it just had the perfect arc to it. Pairs it with a fastball up the gut, and Jones just catches a piece of it and sends it back to the netting. So that's a beautiful pairing there from Adams. A soft changeup to start things off, and then in almost the exact same spot, a fastball, the best fastball that she can muster. So I want to see here, is she going to go back to the changeup because off of that hard stuff, or stick hard with it, excuse me. She goes soft. Jones gets a piece of it, sends it over towards the right field line, and it just goes over the fence. Looked like Diaz, the first baseman, had a chance at it, but she was just a little bit late. So now again, we've seen the soft stuff, the hard stuff, and now the soft stuff. How is Adams going to pair it? Send something out of the zone. Make Jones chase. The 0-2 is a hard one, and it's low and outside, and it's fouled off by Jones. So we can see the formula that Adams is working. It's soft, hard, soft, hard. Just in this at bat, she's been pretty consistent, throughout the game. The 0-2 to Jones is a hard one up, so opposite of what she's been doing, and it's popped into foul territory, and the catch is made by Grace Baines. So that is what we're talking about. That's exactly what pitching coaches want to see you do every time. If you're just continuing to put the soft stuff down and low and away, then combo it with the hard stuff up and in. And that's what she did there, and Jones just couldn't catch up with it, and she popped it into foul territory. We'll see how Adams goes after Crothhamel, the 8-hole hitter for the Nittany Lions. She starts her with the soft stuff, but this one's outside for ball 1. So back-to-back batters that we've seen Adams start with that changeup. The 1-0 is another changeup, and this one's fouled out of play, 1-1. Crothhamel is 0 for 1 today. She hit a hard ground ball that just snuck under the glove of Adams, but the shortstop Bennett was able to make the play. This is a fastball upstairs, but it's fouled off by Crothhamel. Count moves to 1-2. So now we've seen 2 fastballs in a row. Or at least, we had 1 fastball just here. We had a kind of an in-between, maybe a curveball or a slider in the second pitch. And this is a fastball upstairs. Good spot, but it's ball 2. So now that's back-to-back fastballs up around the lettering from Adams. We'll see. She should try and pair this with the soft stuff. Put a changeup at the knees. Try and catch that corner. She's into the motion, and there's a changeup inside, maybe a screwball. But the count goes full. Adams around 50 pitches on the day. Through 4 shutout innings. The full count pitch is flown into shallow center field. Roman barely has to move, and she camps under it for out number 2. So Adams 2 up, 2 down to start the 5th inning, looking for her second shutout of the year and her 5th win on the season. She's had a very, very good campaign thus far in her freshman year, but she does lead the team in losses. Even despite having a 1.49 ERA, she's got a 4-6 record. She's allowed 24 runs, but only 12 of them have been earned. So we'll have a pinch hitter here for Cassie Lindmark, who's the catcher. Gordon will step up to the plate for Penn State. Maddie Gordon wears number 32. She swings first pitch into shallow left field, and this one's going to bloop in front of Klosterman. So the pinch hit single from Maddie Gordon pays off. And Penn State might have something cooking here. The 2-out single in the bottom of the 5th. She kind of got jammed there. She was a little bit late on a fastball that just caught the inside black. That was Gordon's first hit of the season. She had been 0 for 4 up until that point. But it turns the lineup over for Penn State. And Melody Coombs, she takes strike 1. That's only the 3rd hit that Adams has given up today. Adams been very good thus far, coming off of what was she kind of got roughed up in her last outing against Texas, giving up 5 runs in 7 innings. Second pitch to Coombs is fouled back. Count goes 0-2. Penn State leadoff batter is 0 for 2 today. Popped out a bunt and flew out to Roman just short of the warning track in her second AB. She's behind 0-2, and she sticks her hands out at this one, hits a ground ball up the middle, and it gets through there. So back-to-back 2-out singles for the Nittany Lions. That was a nice off-speed pitch from Adams, and Coombs down 0-2, just kind of stuck her hands out at it and was able to get it through the infield past the outstretched arm of Streff. Gordon put the brakes on, remains at second. So runners on first and second with 2 down. And Emily Maddock coming to the plate for Penn State. Maddock 2 for 2 today. Before these last 2 at-bats for Penn State, she had the only 2 hits of the game. She swings first pitch here, flies one into deep center field. Roman gives chase, and she makes the catch over her head for the 3rd and final out of the inning. Maddock gave that one a ride. Definitely got a nice piece on it. But Roman was able to chase it down and makes an outstretched catch over her head for the 3rd and final out and get Adams out of the jam. So Penn State got no runs. They had 2 hits, no errors by the Hawkeye defense. And Penn State stranded those two runners. After 5 complete, Iowa leads Penn State 1-0. It's their both teams' first Big Ten conference game. And we talked about how important it is when Iowa's leading after 4. We'll talk about how important it is when they're leading after 5. They're 13-1 when the Hawkeyes are winning after 5 innings of play. Compare that to when they're losing, they're 2-8. A 1-run game. Iowa sits at that 1-0 lead. When Iowa is in 1-run games, they're 3-3 on the year. Compare that to Penn State, who's 3-2. So neither team has really been in 1-run games all that much. As we'll see a pitching change here for Penn State. The new pitcher for the Nittany Lions is senior number 12, Kylie Lingenfelter. So Partials day is done. The Penn State ace will exit the game with 5 innings pitched. Partial went 5 innings, allowing 3 hits, 1 run, and the run was earned. 4 strikeouts and 2 walks. Leading things off for Iowa is Nia Carter. She sticks one out into shallow left field. That one will bloop in for a single. So Nia Carter has her second hit of the ball game and has reached base safely for the 3rd time. Carter up there swinging first pitch. Didn't even give me time to talk about the new pitcher, Lingenfelter. So Carter reaches base safely for the 3rd time today. She has a walk, a double off the wall, and now a bloop single. Brings up Tatiana Roman, the Iowa center fielder. She shows bunt, pushes it down the 3rd baseline, goes foul, and into the Iowa dugout, So we'll talk about the new pitcher for Penn State, Kylie Lingenfelter. She's a 5'4", 5th year, and she has the 8th best ERA in the Big Ten at 1.84. This is her 11th appearance on the season, as the 0-1 is bunted foul again by Roman. Lingenfelter's 5-0 on the season, has that 1.84 ERA and 44 innings pitched. 54 strikeouts to only 15 walks. But she's facing Tatiana Roman, the Iowa center fielder, who's 1 for 2 today. The count's 0-2 to Roman. It's a fastball upstairs, and Roman lays off. Count moves to 1-2. Roman had that hard ground ball in the 4th inning, where she hit it right at where the shortstop Morrison would usually be playing, but she was playing bunt coverage, so there was just nobody there. The 1-2 was upstairs, swung at by Roman, but she's able to foul it off. A couple of Penn State players, Jones, Morrison, and Leone, gave chase along the left field line, but it just reached out of play. So the count's 1-2. Carter stands on first after the leadoff single. We'll see if maybe she gets the steal sign. She was caught stealing earlier in the 1st inning. She's got 6 on the year. The 1-2 was a fastball outside. Melody Coombs, the Penn State second baseman, wanted the call, and so does Lingenfelter, the pitcher. It was pretty close, I'll say that. And maybe there's a little bias in me, but I feel like it was a ball. But the count moves to 2-2 to Roman. She checks her swing, and will check with the first base umpire on it. And he declares that Roman went around. It's kind of tough angle for him over there at first base. And now Coach Gillespie's going to argue, because Roman's a left-handed batter. And I find it very difficult for the first base umpire to be able to call that check swing. You know, traditionally you ask the umpire opposite of where the batter is. But in this case, since she was a lefty, there was no third base umpire. But Roman goes down swinging for the first out. Brings up the Hawkeye shortstop, number 1, Tori Bennett. Hawkeyes still have Carter on first. Bennett swings at the first pitch. Skies it along the right field line, but it goes out of play. Coach Gillespie still giving a little bit of banter about that check swing with our home plate umpire. But a little arguing isn't going to change the call. So 1 out in the top half of the 6th. Iowa leads Penn State 1-0. Nia Carter is on first. Tori Bennett's at the plate. She takes the 0-1 fastball, and the count evens at 1 apiece. Bennett is 0 for 2 today. She popped out to the first baseman in her first at-bat, but she has the only RBI of the day for Iowa. She grounded into a fielder's choice in the 4th. She takes the 1-1 outside or upstairs. Kind of combined the words there, didn't I? Nonetheless, count moves to 2-1 to the Hawkeye shortstop. Again, maybe we'll see if Carter gets the wheels moving just a little bit. The 2-1 is taken by Bennett, and it's a ball. 3 balls, 1 strike. And now you really have to feel like, with a 3-1 count, Carter is going to get moving there over at first base. You can get the run and hit, different from your hit and run. If you get the run and hit going, just send Carter anyway and give Bennett the green light to swing if she wants to. If she doesn't want to, it's a ball, so Carter would get second anyway. This one is lined into center field. It reaches the outfield grass. Carter puts the brakes on at second base, but Bennett gets the 1-out single, and the Hawks have runners on first and second with Lecker coming to the plate. Carter was not running on the pitch, but as soon as the ball was put in play, she was almost immediately on to second base. Bennett sent a rocket back up the middle, past the outstretched arm of Coombs, the Penn State second baseman. But because Crothamel was playing so shallow, there was no chance for Carter to advance to third base. Lecker takes the first pitch and pulls it foul. Lecker's the DP today, hitting for Adams, who is the flex. She steps into the plate. She's 0 for 2, but she's got a chance to give the Hawks a 2-run lead here. She skies one into the infield, and the infield fly is called as Lingenfelter makes the catch anyway. So Lecker pops one up for the second out, but the Hawkeyes still have 2 on, 2 out, with Grace Baines coming to the plate. The Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series is all about celebrating our student athletes as well as our state's corn farmers. Just like the Cyclones and Hawkeyes work hard all year to get ready for the season ahead, so do Iowa's corn farmers, growing a crop used in over 4,000 products. That's a win for all Iowans. Baines swings at the first pitch and hits a ground ball to Coombs at second base. Coombs comes up with it. Throw over to Black is in time for the third and final out of the inning. So the Hawks get 2 on with 1 away, but they aren't able to take advantage. They get no runs, had 2 hits. There were no Penn State errors. And the Hawkeyes strand 2. After 5.5, Hawkeyes lead Penn State 1-0. With 3, 4, and 5 coming up for the Nittany Lions. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
Nia Carter stands on first base. Nobody out. Tatiana Roman at the plate. The count's 1-0, and she lines one into the left field. This one's going to be a single. Carter stands at second base. So after Carter had a single into right center field, Roman backs it up with a single of her own. First two batters reach in the top half of the 8th inning for the Hawkeyes, and there's nobody out. Brings up Tori Bennett, the Iowa shortstop. Remember, she botched that ball in the bottom half of the 7th inning. It rebounded off of her knee, went right to Streff at second base, and the Hawkeyes were able to avoid what would have been a catastrophe. Nobody out, and the Hawkeye 3-hole batter steps in. She's 1 for 3 on the day. Her first pitch is a fastball way upstairs, and Lingmark was just able to catch it and avoid the wild pitch. If you're just joining us, Penn State and Iowa, 1-1 game. Penn State tied things up in the bottom half of the 6th inning after a triple from Lexi Black and a sacrifice fly from Michelle Leone. The 1-0 pitch to Bennett is low. Count moves to 2-0. Hawkeyes threatened with 2 runners on in the 7th inning, but nothing came about. In the bottom half of the 7th, Penn State had a runner on second with 2 outs. Melody Coombs, the Penn State leadoff hitter, hit a ground ball towards shortstop. It was botched by Bennett at short. Bennett shows bunt and pushes it foul. Count goes to 2-1. Coombs hit the ground ball towards Bennett at shortstop. Bennett botched it, hit off of her knee. And Crothhamel, who was the Penn State runner on second base, rounded third and headed for home, trying to take advantage of the Iowa air. But the ball rebounded right to Streff at second, and she fired home and made the tag in time. And here's a chopping ground ball towards second base. They just get in time for the fielder's choice, so there's the first out. Hawkeyes now have runners on the corners with 1 away. Brings up the Hawkeye cleanup hitter, Lecker. Lecker is 0 for 3 today, but anything in the outfield should score Nia Carter. This is just a do-your-job moment, and Penn State will have a meeting on the mound. We'll see if we'll have a pitching change. Again, Iowa led this game. They took the lead. They took a 1-0 lead in the top half of the 4th inning. Tori Bennett grounded into a fielder's choice to push across the first run of the game for the Hawkeyes. Penn State tied things up in the bottom half of the 6th inning, and both teams went scoreless in the 7th. We had a lot of action going on in the bottom half, where Penn State nearly won on that ground ball to Bennett. But Iowa was able to stave off what would have been a catastrophe. They have runners on the corners now with 1 out. And the Hawkeyes' leading RBI hitter, Denali Lecker, with 29 on the season. She has 7 home runs, the only Hawkeye with more than 1 home run this season. She had 10 last year. She takes a hack at the first pitch, and this one's fouled out of play. Ten home runs last season that led the team, tied for the 4th most ever by a Hawkeye. She's behind 0-1. She takes, ball outside, count moves to 1 apiece. Runners on the corners, 1 out, 1-1 count for the Hawkeye cleanup hitter. Lecker's the DP today, hitting for Adams, who's the flex and pitching. Her day might be done through 7. The 1-1 is fouled along the third base line. 1-2. Lecker is prone to strike out. Struck out 13 times on the season. He's tied for third most on the team. Hasn't struck out yet today, but she's still looking for that first hit. 0 for 3. She's behind 1-2. She fouls this one back behind the netting. Count remains 1-2. Lingenfelter still on the mound for Penn State. Has the 8th best ERA in the Big Ten. Entered the game for Bailey Parshall, who went 5 innings. The 1-2 pitch just misses the outside corner. Penn State fans are asking where the strike call was. But it looked like Lindmark was set up just a little bit outside, and she was just telling her coach, Calissa Crowell, that was definitely outside. So the count is 2-2 with runners on the corners. Lecker just trying to do a job. Anything put into the outfield should score a run. The 2-2 is yanked down the left field line and foul. And the Hawkeye dugout is getting rowdy. That one would have been a home run, but it was just about 20 feet foul. The Hawkeye bench is getting into it. The Henderson twins. Henderson twins leading the charge. The count is still 2-2, and a changeup is way high. Hawkeyes get a little motion going. Bennett takes second base. The throw down is cut off by Coombs, the second baseman. So the Hawkeyes tried to manufacture a run themselves, and they got Bennett running. But Lindmark's throw down to second base was cut off by Coombs. So the Hawkeyes now have runners on second and third with one away, and the count is full. This opens up first base. You have to think maybe Penn State considers just throwing a ball and putting Lecker on. Count's full, and there's a pop fly into deep center field. This one will definitely get the run in. Carter is on her way home, and she will score. The throw comes into third base. Bennett stays at second, but the Hawkeyes take the lead on the sacrifice fly from Denali Lecker. Hawkeyes lead 2-1. We said that Lecker just had to do her job. Didn't have to play the hero, didn't need the home run, just needed the one run, and she did that. She sent a ball deep into center field, made Crothamel run after it, and she just had no chance of getting Carter at home. Bennett stays at second base. Hawkeyes lead 2-1 with 2 outs. First pitch to Baines is a strike that catches the outside corner. 0-1. The 0-1 is a pop fly that stays on the infield. And Black will make the catch just in front of first base for the third and final out of the inning. But the Hawkeyes push across one, and it's the important one. They take the 2-1 lead as we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. The Hawkeyes used 2 hits and utilized on the sacrifice fly from Lecker. Due up in the bottom half of the 8th inning for the Nittany Lions will be 2, 3, and 4. Maddock, Morrison, and Black. Jalen Adams will remain on the bump for the Hawkeyes. She lost the shutout in the 6th inning, but she's still going for the complete game. She's gone all 7 innings thus far. She's only struck out 2, but she's gone 7 innings, allowing just 1 run and 6 hits, and has not walked a single Nittany Lion. Going deep is not something unusual for Jalen Adams. She went 9 innings, 1 game, against Central Arkansas earlier this season. Coach Gillespie asking a lot out of her true freshman from Fort Dodge. Adams was the 2022 Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year, and she's looking to finish Penn State off with a complete game. Her first pitch to Emily Maddock is called strike one. Maddock is 2 for 3 today. A pair of singles and a line drive into center field that she hit on the nail, but she hit it right towards Roman. Count goes 1-1. Nobody out in the bottom half of the 8th inning. The Iowa Hawkeyes lead Penn State and Indy Lions 2-1. A changeup, very good one, just misses the outside corner. 2-1, Penn State's got the rally visors on once more. Bills facing upwards. Fifth-year senior Morgan Farah seems to be leading the charge from the Penn State dugout. And this is a fastball up and in, and it catches Maddock on the elbow guard. So just like Iowa, Penn State will get their leadoff batter on to start off the 8th inning. Maddock's third time reaching today. That was a off-speed pitch that Adams seemed to yank a little bit, brought it inside. And Maddock didn't really stick her elbow out, but didn't really have to move it either. Looks like we'll have a runner for Maddock over at first base. And we will. It will be number 5, Coleman. That is Lydia Coleman, the sophomore from Hoover, Alabama. Morrison shows bunt, pulls back, ball 1. Adams seems to be losing a little bit of her command here as she approaches her 90th pitch. Count is 1-0 to the Penn State shortstop, who's 0 for 3 today. Shows bunt again and bunts it foul. Just bunts it straight down. Coleman was on the run as well. So hit and bunt there for Penn State. One and one to the Penn State 3-hole hitter. She shows bunt once more, gets it down the third baseline. Baines comes in, throws over to first in time for out number 1. Coleman advances to second base, and Penn State has a runner on second with 1 out. It's exactly what the Penn State and Indy Lions wanted to do there. They got a runner on second, 1 away, exactly how they did it last inning. And remember, we've already seen Penn State has been very aggressive on the base paths thus far. Only last inning, when Bennett missed that ball at shortstop, Croft Hamill was sent around with the windmill signal, and she was thrown out at home. A ball that didn't even leave the infield. She went from second to home. Brings up Lexi Black, who takes the first pitch to make the count go 1-0. Lexi Black has only 1 hit today, but that 1 hit was huge. She tripled off the right field wall and has scored the lone run today for Penn State. Takes again, and the count moves 2-0. Black had that triple off the wall, scored the only run today for Penn State off the sacrifice fly from Michelle Leone, who waits on deck. Coleman's on second base, and this one is lined along the left field line, but foul. It was Black's second triple of the season, which now ties her for the team lead with Maggie Finnegan and Lydia Coleman, who stands on second base, so we know she has speed. The 2-1 is a changeup taken, and it catches the plate for strike 2. So the count moves to 2-2 to the Penn State cleanup hitter. The 2-2 is a ball taken upstairs, and the count goes full. So a walk here isn't the worst thing in the world here for Iowa with first base already open. It puts the double play back in action for the Hawkeyes. The count's full, and this is a fly ball into center field. Roman camps underneath it, makes the catch, gets the ball in quickly, and Coleman cannot tag up. So 2 away now, and Penn State is down to their final out. And it's number 9, Michelle Leone. Remember, Leone had the sacrifice fly in the 6th inning to tie the game for Penn State. Can she tie things once more? The Hawkeyes 1 out away from getting their first win of conference play. The first pitch to Leone is taken for strike 1. Bottom of the 8th inning, Hawkeye defense fairly straight up. Adams approaching her 100th pitch of the day. The 0-1 is taken inside for a ball. Leone has gone hitless thus far. She's struck out, grounded out, but of course she had that sacrifice fly in the 6th inning. She's a .370 hitter on the season and has an OBP of 500. The 1-1 is pulled into left field. This is a bloop, and it's going to drop, and it's fair. Coleman rounds third and heads home, and she will score safely. And the ball gets behind Doster behind the plate. And Leone will advance to second base, so she has tied things again for the Nittany Lions. This game is 2-2 in the bottom of the 8th. There's a great piece of hitting there from the Penn State third baseman. She pulls this one along the third base line, and it just landed about 3 feet to the right of the foul line. And Coleman, who has great speed, rounded third without hesitation, and she was able to score easily before Klosterman's throw. So Leone advanced on the throw. We'll wait to see if that one was called an error. I have to imagine that it wasn't. I think she was already headed towards second base before the throw happened. Leone will get ran for. It's number 13, Lauren Marcotte. Marcotte is a 5'4" junior from Torrance, California. She has 1 steal on the season. And Maggie Finnegan will step into the box for Penn State. She bloops one along the infield. It will stay there, and Grace Baines comes in and makes the catch for the final out. But not before Penn State is able to tie things once more. And we're headed to the 9th. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
Penn State will do a pitching change as we head to the top half of the 9th inning. And look who's coming back in the game for Penn State. It's number 1, Bailey Parshall. Parshall, who started the game, is the Penn State ace. And she will re-enter. She pitched the first 5 innings of this one. She was lined up for the loss before getting the no decision. So Lingenfelter will exit. Lingenfelter went 3 innings, allowed 1 run on 5 hits, struck out 2 Hawkeyes. But Parshall will re-enter this game. Parshall, who has the 2nd best ERA in the Big Ten at 1.24. That's 26th best nationally. She's already gone 5 innings in this one, allowing 1 run on 3 hits and has struck out 4. Leading things off is Klosterman for the Hawkeyes, and she fouls one off 0-1. It's a lefty v. lefty matchup. As we said, Penn State utilizes 5 pitchers primarily. 3 of them left-handed. Partial definitely the best of all of them. She's ahead 0-1 to the Hawkeye left fielder. And Klosterman is late and fouls it off. Count moves to 0-2. It's a very unique thing that you see in softball where a player can re-enter the game, and it's very difficult, you have to imagine, just as a mindset for a pitcher. You know, you start the first 5 innings as Klosterman fouls another one off. You start the first 5, then you go sit down for 3, and your mind's just not totally in it. But then you're told, all right, you're going to come back in the game. It's time to refocus. Like, you're going to have to. We're gonna need you here. This is a tie game in the 9th inning. Counts 0-2 to Klosterman, and she swings and misses on the changeup, and she goes down swinging. Partial gets her 5th strikeout of the day. It brings up the Iowa second baseman, Anna Streff. Streff, number 17. Remember, she had the game-saving throw in the bottom of the 7th inning where she rebounded a ball that bounced off of Bennett's knee. She threw home in time to get Crothamel, which would have been the winning run. She's behind 0-1 now. Partial takes the sign and goes into the motion. And this is a chopping ground ball back up the middle. Morrison ranges over, makes the play, and throws in time for the second out. Nice play there from the Penn State shortstop. So 2 up, 2 down in the top half of the 9th for the Hawkeyes. It brings up the catcher, number 2, Tristan Doster. Doster is 1 for 3 today. The one hit was a bloop single that just went over the outstretched glove of Morrison, the shortstop in left center field. She swings and misses at the off-speed. Falls behind 0-1. Doster struck out once today. Takes the 0-1 as a ball, and it will go 1-1. Hawkeyes looking to get a 2-out rally going and take the lead as they head into the bottom of the 9th. Partial goes into the motion. And there's a fly ball into left field. Jones ranges back for Penn State and will make the catch just shy of the warning track. So the Hawkeyes go 3 up, 3 down as Partial re-enters the game for Penn State. As we head to the bottom half of the 9th, Penn State will look to walk off their 2nd game in a row. They walked off a game earlier this week on Tuesday against Pitt. That was a 1-0 8-inning affair. Emily Maddock had the walk-off infield single for Penn State, and by the way things are lined up now, it looks like she could get that walk-off again. She's due up 5th this inning. Penn State sent it up 7-8-9 with Jones, Crothamel, and Lindmark. Jalen Adams will remain on the mound for the Hawkeyes. The 5'8 freshman has put out 8 strong innings thus far for Coach Gillespie. She's thrown over 100 pitches and allowed 2 runs on 7 hits. She's worked around 2 different Iowa errors. Errors, something that is somewhat plagued the Hawkeyes early this season. I mean, they have 31 entering today, now 33, which is tied for the most errors in the Big Ten. But you also have to remember the Hawkeyes have played This is their 30th game of the season, and you compare that to Penn State, this is only their 23rd. So leading things off for the Nittany Lions is Leanna Jones, the left fielder. She takes ball one. Penn State switching things up now rally cap-wise. Now they're putting the helmets on backwards. The 1-0 to Jones is a fly ball into deep left field. It's at the wall, and it hits off the scoreboard. This game is over. Leanna Jones hits a walk-off home run to win it for Penn State. As she rounds third and heads home, she's waiting to get mobbed by her teammates. That was a laser out into left field. Klosterman, the left fielder, just had to turn and watch. It was nailed off the scoreboard as Penn State will complete the comeback. Final score 3-2. Leanna Jones, the walk-off home run to win it for Penn State. Back-to-back games in which they win via the walk-off. It's Jones's 5th home run of the season. Now the most by a Penn State Nittany Lion this year. Broke the tie she had with Caitlin Morrison. It was a fastball that just sat over the middle of the plate from Adams. And Jones was able to turn on it and hit a rocket off the scoreboard out in left field. We'll take a break and then wrap things up here. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
So the Hawkeyes drop their first Big Ten game of the season. Final score, Penn State 3, Iowa 2. Penn State wins via the walk-off home run. Iowa blew the lead twice in this one. They had a 1-run lead in the 6th inning and in the 8th. Iowa took the 1-0 lead early. Iowa took the 1-0 lead in the top half of the 4th inning off of the RBI fielder's choice from Tori Bennett that scored Nia Carter. The Hawkeyes kept that lead and went all the way into the bottom half of the 6th before Lexi Black hit a triple off the wall. Hit a 1-out triple for Penn State. And Michelle Leone knocked her in with the RBI sacrifice fly. Things were made tied as we went into the 8th inning. Hawkeyes took the lead off of a pair of singles and a sacrifice fly from Lecker. Held the 2-1 lead, and then Penn State was able to tie things up once more, again from Michelle Leone in the bottom half of the 8th inning. With 2 outs, she sent a bloop single down the left field line that dropped in fair. The pinch runner, Coleman, rounded third and slid home safely. Iowa went 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the 9th, and then the leadoff batter for Penn State in the bottom half just sent a rocket over the left field wall to win it. Jalen Adams will take the loss for the Hawkeyes. She went 8+ innings, allowing 3 runs on 8 hits. 2 strikeouts. Nobody walked, but she did hit a batter. She forced Penn State to leave 7 runners on base. And she finished with 104 pitches. On the other side of things, for Penn State, Bailey Partial will get the win. Her 12th on the season and her first one in conference play. She went 6 innings, started the first 5, exited the game with a 1-0 deficit. Penn State was able to tie it to give her the no decision, and then she re-entered the game in the top half of the 9th. Sent 3 Hawkeyes down in order before finally finishing the game with the win. So she finishes with 6 innings, allowing 1 run on 3 hits, walking 2 and striking out 5. Hawkeyes only hit 158 when she was in the game. Offensively for Iowa, they were carried once more by Nia Carter, who went 3 for 3 and had a walk, reached all 4 times. And she scored both Hawkeye runs in this one. She had a double off the wall. Lecker gets the RBI on the sacrifice. Bennett has an RBI on a fielder's choice. But that's it. Bigger bat on the Penn State. Liana Jones was just able to win the game for her team on that line drive of a hit that just bounced off the scoreboard. So your final score from State College, the Penn State Nittany Lions 3, the Iowa Hawkeyes 2. The teams will face off again Sunday morning, the first game of the doubleheader. So the Hawkeyes drop to 0-1 in conference play. Penn State moves to 1-0. Final score, Penn State 3, Iowa 2. Thank you for listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.